Hello everyone. In this video, we are planning to discuss few basic concepts from particle physics like concept of matter and different models of particle physics, and also about Large Hadron Collider and its outcome. So let's start. First we will discuss Dalton's atomic theory. He gave his theory in 1808. It stated that all matter was made up of small indivisible particles known as atoms. He believed atoms to be the smallest unit of matter. So atoms are smallest unit of matter according to him, which are indivisible in nature. This means there won't be any other particles which are smaller than these atoms. Okay, but with progress of physics and technology, different scientists found out that there are some other particles which are subatomic in nature. So in them, J.J. Thomson gave his model, and he is the one who discovered electrons. So while experimenting with cathode ray tube, he found out that atoms contain small subatomic particles with a negative charge, later called as electrons. So what he's saying is there will be subatomic particles called as electrons which are smaller than atom. Okay, so later Rutherford gave his model, and he is the one who discovered proton. Okay, so according to his theory, positively charged particles and the majority of an atom's mass were concentrated in an incredibly tiny volume. He referred to this portion of atom as nucleus. This nucleus is very small in size as compared to the size of the atom as a whole. So what he is saying is there will be an atom. Inside atom there will be a nucleus which is very small compared to the size of the atom itself, and inside that nucleus we will have a positively charged particles called as proton. And Rutherford also told that nucleus is surrounded by a negatively charged particles called electrons. So he told this nucleus is surrounded by a negatively charged particle called as electron. Okay, later Chadwick gave his model, and he is the one who discovered neutron. So he is responsible for discovering the existence of neutron, the neutral particle that shares the nucleus with positively charged proton. So what he is saying is there will be nucleus, inside nucleus there will be proton and neutron. So overall, if we see an atom today, there will be nucleus. Inside that nucleus we have neutron and proton, and this nucleus is surrounded by an electron, means this electron is orbiting this nucleus. Okay, but after discovering these particles, they believed that electron, proton, neutron, etc. These are to be the fundamental particles, and there cannot be any smaller particles than this. But later in 1940s and 60s, due to advance in physics and technology, lot of scientists found some other particles which are smaller than these fundamental particles. So now the question has arisen, or there are a lot of issues regarding three questions, like which one is smallest particle. So first question is which one is smallest particle. The second question is what are basic particles. Okay, and the third question is how force is associated with them. How force is associated with them. So to answer all these questions, they proposed a theory which is called a standard model of physics, and this theory till date is the most accurate theory, and it could predict almost all the scientific events till date. Okay, so let's go into different models of particle physics. So there are three models of in particle physics. First one is standard model of physics, second one is theory of supersymmetry, and third one is string theory. So we will discuss each and every theory in detail. So according to standard model of physics, there are two important things. One is fundamental particles and another one is fundamental forces. So these fundamental particles are further divided into two types. One is fermions and another one is bosons. This I have drawn in a paper so you can see clearly. So standard model of physics, there are two important things. One is fundamental particles, another one is fundamental forces. So fundamental particles are further divided into two groups. One is fermions and another group is bosons. There are total 12 fermions and there are total 6 bosons. So these fermions are further divided into quarks and leptons, which are 6 in number each. So these quarks are further divided into down type, which are 3 in number, and up type, which are also 3 in number. So down type are down, strange and bottom. Up type are up, charm and top. See, if you see, I have written here minus 1 by 3. This is the charge of down type particles, means all these three will have same charge of minus 1 by 3, and up type particles will have a charge of plus 2 by 3. Okay, we'll see what is this charge and how it will be helpful for us. Okay, so next, and these quarks forms protons and neutrons. Okay, later leptons are also 6 in number, which are further divided into two groups called as charged, which are 3 in number, and neutral is another group, which are also 3 in number. These charged are electron, tau and muon, and these neutral ones are electron neutrino and tau neutrino and muon neutrino. See, these are chargeless. These 3 neutrinos are chargeless, whose charge is 0, and these 3 1 are negatively charged and their charge is minus 1. So all neutral neutrinos collectively defined as neutrinos. So these 3 are combinedly called as neutrinos, but leptons forms electrons and neutrons. Okay, so let's take proton. Let's take proton. We know proton's charge is plus 1, and if you want to know how this positive one is arrived, so proton is formed by 2 ups plus 1 down. See, what is 2 ups? 2 into up here is up charge is 2 by 3. So 2 into 2 by 3 plus 1 down. 1 into what is the charge of down or bottom? All these have same charge, minus 1 by 3. So if we count 4 by 3 minus 1 by 3, which is equal to 3 by 3, which is equal to 1. Okay, so this is the charge of proton, which is positive 1. Similarly, if you take neutron, so it is 2 down plus 1 up, means 2 into minus 1 by 3 plus 1 into 2 by 3, which is equal to 0. So neutron has a charge of 0. Okay, so like this it can be helpful for us to calculate the charges. Okay, later if you see, fundamental particles are divided into fermions and bosons. So we discussed all fermions. Okay, now we come to bosons. Bosons are generally force carrying particles. Okay, these are 6 in number, like graviton, photon, gluon, W, Z and Higgs boson. We will discuss all these things. Okay, and standard model of physics discussed two things now, as we discussed fundamental particles and fundamental forces. So fundamental forces are generally four in number. One is gravitational force, another one is electromagnetic force, and another one is strong force and weak force. Okay, this is what the summary which I took from internet. See, like leptons, this picture is taken from internet. See, these are leptons which are divided into two groups, which was mentioned here, like leptons which are divided into two groups, charged and neutral. Okay, so charged and neutral, as we discussed, charged has negative charge of -1 and neutral has chargeless, means zero charge. Similarly, quarks, these are down type and these are up type. So these have a charge of -1/3 and up type has a charge of 2/3. Okay, so there are four fundamental forces, no? Strong force, gravitational force, weak force, electromagnetic force, and strong force. And for every fundamental force there is a boson associated. Okay, so for strong force the boson associated was gluon. For electromagnetic force it is photon. For gravitational force it is graviton. And for weak force it is W and Z. So we'll discuss these things in next slide. Okay, so these are four fundamental forces, as we discussed: electromagnetic force and gravitational force, strong force and weak force. And these two, electromagnetic force and gravitational force, no, these are universal forces. Okay, means their range is very big. Okay, they are present everywhere. And these are subatomic forces. Okay, means these are present inside nucleus like that. Okay, so these are very helpful for us to discuss in nuclear energy also. Okay, see here I forgot to mention, see, neutron decay means nuclear decay, beta radioactivity. So these are helpful for nuclear reactions. Okay, so whatever the nuclear decay is occurring is just because of weak force. Okay, remember that. We'll discuss once again this topic in the nuclear physics also. And first two forces are universal forces, next two are subatomic forces, and order of strength. See, this point is very important in prelims perspective. Okay, they may ask which force is highest and which force is lowest, like that, in strength perspective. So gravitation is biggest of all, later is weak force, after that is electromagnetic force, and the most strongest force is strong force. Okay, the most okay, the strongest force of all is strong force. Okay, and to explain the origin of force, they use the concept of bosons, and bosons are force carrying particles, which we discussed in last slide. Okay, and for each fundamental force there are different bosons. This also we discussed. Okay, like gravitational force, the boson associated was graviton. For electromagnetic force it is photon. For strong force it is gluon. For weak force it is W and Z. See, all these bosons are detected except graviton. Okay, graviton was not yet detected till now. Okay, so here if we see strong force, the associated boson is gluon. Electromagnetic force it is photon, and weak force it is W and Z, and for gravity it is graviton. Okay, and if you see here, mass, spin, they wrote like this. Okay, for everything. So what are these things means? If any new particle is identified or discovered, then they are discovered based on differences in three things. Okay, new particles are discovered based on difference in three things. One is charge, another one is spin, and the third one is mass. So based on these three, new particles are discovered. Okay, so these are mentioned here. Okay, we'll go to next slide. So what are the criticisms of standard model of physics? Because as we discussed earlier, we said till today almost all the events that has happened are explained by standard model of physics, but there are other things also which are not discussed by standard model of physics. One is dark matter and dark energy. So these two constitute almost 95% in our universe, but there was no mention by standard model of physics regarding these two. And it explained about antimatter, but it didn't explain what happened to it. So we'll discuss about antimatter in a few, next slides. But till that, just understand that standard model of physics explained about antimatter, but it didn't explain what happened to it. And graviton, as we discussed, graviton was not yet detected. Okay. Similarly, Higgs boson. So standard model of physics. In standard model of physics, Higgs boson mass means whatever the mass of Higgs boson according to theory. Okay, this is theory's mass is much higher than the mass of Higgs boson. Mass of Higgs boson which is obtained in lab, means in Large Hadron Collider experiment. Whatever the mass we got now, that mass was very small compared to the mass which was mentioned in the standard model of physics theory. Okay, so these are once again I mentioned in pictorial thing. So quarks are total 6. These are up type and these are bottom types, and leptons are also 6 types. Okay, these are charged ones and these are neutral ones, and these are the fundamental means bosons with respect to their respective fundamental forces. And I didn't mention graviton here because graviton was not yet discovered, okay, or detected. Okay, we'll go to next theory, and the second theory is called theory of supersymmetry, also called as SUSY. Okay, super symmetry, SUSY. Okay, so according to this theory, for every particle there is a super partner particle. So this is important. For every particle, means some particle X is there, for that particle there is super partner particle, some super partner particle. Okay, so like that, for every particle there are super partner particles. So for fermions, as we discussed in previous slides, fermions are fundamental particles. No, for fermions there are super partner particles which are newly defined class of bosons. Okay, for fermions, that super partner particles is newly defined class of bosons, and these bosons are different from the normal bosons which we discussed till now. Okay, normal bosons are force carrying particles, but these new class of bosons are super partners of fermions. Similarly, for bosons, that super partner particles are newly defined class of fermions. So these fermions are also different from the normal fermions which we discussed in previous slides. Okay, normal bosons sustain the universe. Okay, this word is important, they may ask in prelims. Normal bosons sustain the universe as they are responsible for force. See, if force is there, then only there will be mass. If mass is there, then only there will be matter. If matter is there, then only there will be universe. So without force, there cannot be any universe. So bosons are sustains the universe. Okay, and they are 6 in number. So we discussed this: graviton, photon, gluon, Higgs boson, W and Z. So for fermions, so normal fermions forms the universe, means universe is made up of matter, and matter is made up of fundamental particles. So fermions forms the universe. They include all quarks and leptons. So all quarks and leptons is protons, electrons, neutrons, everything will come here. Okay, so now we'll come to this what are these newly defined class of bosons, all those things. So super partner bosons means newly defined class of bosons are quarks. But for for fermions, we know fermions are divided into quarks and leptons. For this one, they newly defined class of bosons. For that, they added just a term S in front of them. So S quarks, S leptons. So S leptons, like that. So S quarks is a super partner particle of quark. S proton is the super partner particle of proton, like that S muon, S tau, S neutrino, etc. Okay, so these are super partners, means a newly defined class of bosons. Similarly, the super partner fermions are newly defined class of fermions. See, these are bosons. What are bosons? We discussed 6, no? Graviton, gluon, all those things, no? So for them, the newly defined class of bosons are fermions. So for them, what they did is, in the end, they added INO term, INO. So it is graviton, no? So it is gravitino. Okay, so it is gravitino, Vino, Zino. So normally it is WZ, no? So Vino, Zino, Fotino, Gluino, etc. Okay, so these are super partner fermions, means newly defined class of fermions. But the thing is, none of the super partner particles are detected. Okay, and standard model of physics also didn't talk anything about super partner particles. Okay, so let's see, already we discussed this. These are normal standard model of physics particles, like these are quarks, okay, and these are leptons, and these are the force carriers, means these are bosons. Okay, for SUSY particles, means these are super partner particles. See, I told no, for quarks they added, these are newly defined class of bosons. Okay, so S quarks, S leptons, and these are newly defined class of fermions. So SUSY particles these are. Okay, hope you got it. See here, Higgs boson they wrote. Okay, fine, we'll go to, hope you understood this. We'll go to next theory. The third theory is string theory. According to this theory, various types of particles are different manifestation of the same string particles. Means there is only one particle, only one string particle, and whatever the different particles that are forming are just manifestation of the single string particle only. Okay, so it is expected to integrate all different types of physics, and no lab is working in the world on this theory, because energy needed to create a string particle is very high, and we don't have technology to produce the required energy. Okay, so we completed all the theories in physics. So next we'll discuss something about Large Hadron Collider. Then we'll come back to neutrinos also. Okay, so Large Hadron Collider. So this is the world's largest and most powerful particle accelerator. Okay, and this project was led by the European Organization for Nuclear Research. Okay, and hadron, the term hadron here is a composite subatomic particle made of two or more quarks. So we discussed what are quarks, for example proton and neutron. So hadron is made up of more than two or more particles which are quarks. Okay, and in this experiment what they did is, see here I just gave a picture. So in this they took a tunnel of 27 kilometers at the border of France and Switzerland. Okay, so this 27 kilometers tunnel was fitted with one of the most powerful superconducting magnets, and also with particle accelerators. So superconducting magnets are fitted, and also particle accelerators are also fixed to this one, and they took two beams of protons. Okay, so one they released from this side and another they released from this side, and gradually they accelerated these protons, and gradually they accelerated almost to the speed of light, and they made to crash on each other. So what is their aim is, they want to create the same conditions that existed during Big Bang. Okay, they want to create the same conditions that are existed during Big Bang. So let's see what we wrote. 27-kilometer long tunnel was constructed, and from each end beam of protons were released and gradually accelerated almost at the speed of the light and crashed into each other to recreate the condition existed after the Big Bang. So with this experiment in 2012, actually this experiment was started in 2008, and in 2012 they were able to discover Higgs boson. Okay, but they discovered Higgs boson only just for a fraction of seconds, and after that it started disintegrating. Okay, so Higgs boson is generally responsible for the mass. Okay, we'll discuss this one separately in Higgs boson topic, but not in this video. Okay, and Large Hadron Collider gave lot of answers and filled lot of gaps in the standard model of physics. Okay, so there are a lot of things that are looking through this experiment, but the most important things just I mentioned here. So how the origin of mass took place, they are looking through this Large Hadron Collider experiment. And the other thing is what is dark matter and what is dark energy, and the third thing they are looking for is antimatter. Okay, so we'll discuss some few lines about these three things. Okay, so how origin of mass took place. See, universe is made up of universe is made up of matter, and matter is made up of particles like proton, electron, neutron. So the common thing for all these things is mass, means there is mass, means if mass is there, then there should be a mechanism for the formation of mass. So to explain the concept of mass, they used the concept of Higgs boson. Okay, so now we'll discuss about something about dark matter and dark energy, but not in detail, because dark matter and dark energy are big topics, so that we need to discuss in separate video, and antimatter we'll discuss a little bit also here. Okay, so dark matter, it constitutes around 25%, and dark energy, it constitutes around 70%. So both together constitutes more than 95%, but this 95% thing is not mentioned or discussed by standard model of physics. So we are looking regarding these two in Large Hadron Collider experiment. Okay, so there is a saying that dark matter is chargeless. When anything is chargeless, then it won't interact with electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, electromagnetic radiations. So if it is not interacting with electromagnetic radiations, then it won't interact with light also. When it won't interact with light, then it can't reflect that light back. So when anything is not reflecting light, then we can't see it. As we can't see it, it is called as dark. So dark matter. Okay, and this is very, very important. Remember for prelims perspective. Okay, dark energy is responsible for expansion of universe. Okay, this is very, very important. See, initially what scientists believed was, after Big Bang, okay, the energy was spread and the universe started expanding. Okay, they initially believed that this expansion will continue till the energy was exhausted. Okay, till that energy was there, till that time only it will expand, but after that once again contraction will take place, like that they initially believed. But they observed with Hubble telescope and they found out that, okay, the universe is expanding and the expansion rate is increasing, means the rate of acceleration of expansion is increasing. Means they were now in confusion, that initially they thought after the energy calms down, expansion will slow down and contraction will start, but they now, with Hubble telescope, they found the rate of expansion is increasing. Means there is something that is leading to increasing. So they are believing that dark energy is responsible for the expansion, rate of increasing in rate of expansion of the universe. Okay, so we'll see next something about antimatter. So during Big Bang, the proportion of during Big Bang, the proportion of matter and antimatter are almost same. Okay, but today we are not studying about antimatter because it is not existed now. It is not exist now. So we don't know what happened to it. Okay, so according to standard model of physics, it explained antimatter, but it didn't explain what happened to it. Okay, so they are looking for this answer, what happened to this antimatter, all those things, through this Large Hadron Collider experiment. So let's see what is the difference between matter and antimatter. So let us take a simple atom. So I kept some picture. So let's see this one. They took a hydrogen atom, and antimatter means anti-hydrogen. So inside that one there will be a proton, which is a positive charge one, electron, which is a negative charge one. Okay, but for antimatter there will be antiproton, which is negative one, and electron will be there. For that electron, here electron is negative and here electron will be positive, and positive electron is called positron. So let's see. Electron generally in normal particle it is negative, but in antiparticle it is positive, and that positive electron is called as positron. Similarly, proton in normal particle it is positive, and in antiparticle or antimatter it is negative. But here comes the question. As neutron, we know its charge is 0. Okay, so how can we say which one is proton and antiproton like that, or sorry, neutron or anti-neutron like that? So the question is here spin. Okay, so in neutron the spin is, if it is clockwise, then in anti-neutron the spin will be anti-clockwise. If here it is anti-clockwise, then the spin will be here clockwise. So here the spin will be opposite, and in normal particles, this in a proton and electron, the distribution, you will see this word, the distribution of charges are opposite. Okay, the distribution of charges are opposite for electron and proton, and for neutron it is the spin is opposite. Okay, so this is something about antimatter, but we are still studying what happened to this antimatter through this Large Hadron Collider experiment. Okay, and we will also discuss something about neutrinos. So neutrinos are also called as ghost particles. As we discussed, neutrinos are generally 3 in types. So electron neutrino, muon neutrino, and tau neutrino, and these 3 combined together called as neutrinos. And these are second most widely occurring particles in the universe, only after photons. Okay, and neutrinos are neutral one, and they don't have charge, as we discussed earlier. Okay, they don't have charge, means that the charge is 0. Okay, and their mass is many times less than the electron. So this is very important from prelims perspective. Means neutrinos don't have charge, but they definitely will have mass. But even they have mass, that mass is much lesser than the mass of electrons. Okay, as they don't have charge, they won't interact with matter. Okay, similarly we discussed whatever the things that don't have any charge, they won't interact with electromagnetic radiations also. Okay, So in 2015, Nobel Prize was awarded to Takaki Kajita and Arthur B. McDonald for discovering neutrino oscillation, demonstrating that neutrinos have mass. See, what they discovered is, while traveling, okay, electron neutrino will be converted into muon neutrino, and muon neutrino will be converted into tau neutrino, and tau neutrino can be converted into electron neutrino. Like this, they can convert into different forms of neutrinos. Okay, so neutrinos, while traveling, they constantly undergo transformation from one type to another type. For this discovery, these two got Nobel Prize in Physics in 2015. And some of the experiments which are being conducted to find neutrinos in the world are ice cube experiment, which was being conducted in Antarctica to find sterile neutrinos, and there was hypothesis that sterile neutrinos are the basics for dark matter also. Okay, and other project is Opera project of Italy, and INO of India, Indian Neutrino Observatory, which was located in Theni district of Tamil Nadu. Okay, so we'll see two questions which are asked from this topic. Okay, generally they won't go much deeper into these two topics, because these are a little bit tougher topics. So whatever the questions they ask, they will generally ask on the basics only, and if you know what is what, then definitely we can eliminate and come to the right answer. So let's see event horizon. This is regarding black holes, which we didn't discuss. We need to discuss in some other video. And okay, first we'll read this question. The term event horizon, singularity, string theories, which we discussed, standard model of physics, are sometimes seen in the news in the context of observation and understanding of the universe. This is the right answer. Okay, and we'll see other options also. Study of the solar and lunar eclipse, which we didn't discuss about anything. And placing satellites in the orbit, no, we didn't discuss anything about these topics. Origin and evolution of living organisms on earth, we didn't discuss anything. So about this also. So observing and understanding the universe. So whatever the experiments we are conducting, just we want to know what happened after Big Bang, how universe is reacting, whether it is expanding or contracting, or what, how these fundamental particles are formed, all these things. So this is the right option. We'll see second question. Consider the following pairs of terms seen in the news. Okay, Bella experiment, we will put it in question mark. We don't know what is this is right or wrong. Blockchain technology, cryptocurrencies. So definitely we know 2 is correct. So answer can be from these 3. CRISPR-Cas9, particle physics. We didn't discuss anything like CRISPR-Cas9 in particle physics. So this is definitely wrong. If it is definitely wrong, then definitely 2 will be the answer. Okay, if 2 is answer, means then definitely 1 is also wrong. Okay, generally CRISPR-Cas9 is related to biotechnology. So by just knowing particle physics basics, we can understand what are there in the topic. We can eliminate and we can get the answer. Okay, generally they won't go that much deeper in these topics. They will ask superficially only basics, and only if you know what and what, definitely we can answer it. Hope you all like this video. Thank you.